want to show you guys part of our trip to London. Now while we were in London, we stayed at this hotel called the Premier Hub, and it was right by Tower Bridge. Every day pretty much, instead of taking like the subway or like buses to get to like central London, we would just go down to the pier, grab a ticket, hop on. The red dot on this map is where our hotel was, and the yellow dot is pretty much where we would get off because it was near like Big Ben. It was a good, like, it was basically your closest walking point you could get to, like towards Buckingham and all of the parks. Our first stop the day we arrived was the National Gallery. They had these giant statues of lions in front of it, and a lot of people were climbing on top of it, and I really wanted to, but from my longboard fall my knee was still messed up, and I was like, if I climb up there I'm going to open my scabs and it's going to be gross. I was like, I'm not doing it. We walked by Buckingham Palace through St. James Park our first day, but we did not go down to the palace. We were kind of waiting to go down there until the following day, which you will see, so we could watch the changing of the guard. We did walk through St. James Park though, which is one of the parks near Buckingham Palace, and there were these really pretty flowers everywhere, and they had lots of ducks and birds, and this really adorable cottage that we stumbled upon that they now use as like a gardening shed. We were going to go to Westminster Abbey, and while we were on our way there, we stumbled upon the Supreme Courthouse, which they had open to the public the day we were walking by. So of course we decided to go inside, and we got to see a lot of cool things. We got to see the courtrooms, and they also had this funny little like cloak and wigs you could put on, so we got to take a cool picture doing that. Westminster Abbey was really cool because we got to see all of the like kings and queens and stuff that passed. Like, I'm in love with the show Reign, so to me it was so cool getting to see, like, you got to see like Queen Elizabeth's tomb, and then Queen Mary of Scots was also buried there. So that was really cool for me. It was kind of like, whoa, like, because we went to Scotland after London, so it was kind of like getting a peek into what we were going to get when we got there. So I thought it was really cool to get to see that, and then also like there were so many authors, like famous authors and poets and stuff buried there. I thought it was really cool to get to see their tombs and just the inscriptions on their tombs and stuff like that. So that was really cool, just kind of like walk around and like, oh, I know who that is. Like, that's cool. You could not take pictures inside. Most of that was kind of like the lame thing, was like the castles and the palaces and some of these bigger places. You're not allowed to take photos inside. You're not allowed to video, either because of the age of the places or because people still live in these places and they don't want the public having such like a easy access to like the layout of their home, which is totally understandable. Like the palaces that like the Queen visits and she lives in and stays in, like, totally understand. But Westminster Abbey was one of those places you couldn't take video or film inside. So that was kind of lame, but it was really cool to see the inside. So if you're ever in London, you should totally do it. If you don't think you're ever going to get to London, you can actually go to Google Maps and it actually lets you walk inside of it, which is really cool. I've noticed that yesterday when I was like, oh, I wish we had like footage of the inside, and I was like, oh, I wonder if there's something like cool, and I like Googled and I was just messing around and I was like, oh my gosh, you can go inside on Google Maps. So that's pretty neat. So if you want to see the inside, you should go to Google Maps. You can't see all of the inside, but you can see the good, like, most of the portions of it, so better than nothing. So our first day in London was great, but then this happened.
So we're in the hotel, and I was trying to plug in stuff to charge things, and it like blew the fuse in a room, and now they can't get it turned back on. So we're hanging out in the dark while they try and check all the breakers. I did it, and it freaked me out, and I thought I like legit like broke the whole hotel, and I went and looked in the hallway and everything else outside was still had lights, so I was like, okay, it's just us. So now we're waiting. So let this be a lesson. Don't plug things in.
Okay, so what happened was, while we were in the hotel, they had plugs for like the UK outlet, which is like 3 square like it kind of looks like the American one, but it's like bigger squares instead of circles like ours, if that makes sense. But we have, because we live in Spain, we have a lot of European plugs, and they also had a European outlet, and so I was trying to like double plug things. So like we had plugged in, like we had two universal plugs, and one of them, it wasn't like the UK plug wasn't working, so I was like, oh well, we can just use the European one. And in that same outlet like connection, it had the other one, which we had another one that was working with the UK plug. So we had one already plugged in, and I was plugging in the other one to charge something else. And as soon as I plugged it in, it like blew the power in our room. I freaked out thinking I killed like the whole building. I like quickly, like I was in my pajamas, it was late. I ran to our door, opened it, the hall lights were still on. I was like, okay, I just killed our room. I freaked out. My husband was like in the bathroom, and I was like, he was like, what did you do? And I was like, I killed the room. But it was very traumatic, honestly, because when you're in another country and you blow a fuse and I don't know, it was just scary. I was like, oh my gosh, I just like killed the whole hotel. They're gonna kick us out. Like, this is our first night here. Like, this is a horrid way to start the trip. But my husband put on like clothes. He went down to reception and told them what happened, because I was like in my pajamas. I was too embarrassed. I was like, there's no way I'm going down there. So I made him do it. He went down and he talked to them. They had to come back up, obviously, and there was like a breaker in our room, like in the ceiling. And they flipped that, and it still wouldn't turn back on. So I was like, oh my god, like I really broke it. And then they had to go down to like, I guess where the big breaker is, and they had to like flip it there. But the guy was kind of like, he was kind of cool about it. Like, he was joking. He was like, this happens all the time kind of thing. He'd be like, it's not like a huge deal. Like, it happens all the time. Like, you would be surprised. Like, this isn't an abnormal thing. So that made me feel a little bit better. But it was definitely an interesting start to our first night in London. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Next week we'll be back with another video. You can see more of our trip, so please subscribe if you want to be notified when that is up. Hopefully it'll be up before next Tuesday. I'm trying to get these together now that I'm kind of at the ball rolling. I feel a little bit better about really getting into them, and now that I'm not like sick anymore after the plague that I caught, like from flying and everything. But yeah, I really want to get the rest of these edited up. I don't want to be like dragging these out all summer because I have other things that I want to show you guys. But this Tuesday I just wanted to kind of like ease back into life after vacation and give myself some time to like breathe. So this week you guys are just getting our first date, and if you want to see what happens the rest of our trip, stay tuned and I'll see you then. Stay amazing!